For a long time, the biggest decision to make when paying up a new smartphone has been whether to plump for iOS or Android. With BlackBerry retreating back to the services and keyboard-toting handsets that made it successful and Windows phones scrapping by on a sliver of market share, few users have taken the time to look beyond what Apple and Google have had to offer. Yet there's a change in the air. Microsoft has a new CEO at the top of the tree, fresh ideas about how the company's different properties should come together, and most importantly, a massive redesign of its phone operating system hidden in a 0.1 update. While the global market share of Windows Phone continues to be tiny, it is making significant gains in some areas. It's now the fastest growing phone operating system in Europe, accounting for 10.1% of the market share, for instance, and outsells the iPhone in some developing nations. What's more, Windows Phone 8.1 is about to be pushed out to the users, bringing with it an improved interface, better apps, and a digital assistant to take on Siri and Google now. Don't believe us? Check out these reasons below to see how Microsoft has leaped forward with its operating system. But feel free to stick with Android or iOS if you're not convinced. iOS has its icons and folders, Android has its widgets, but Windows Phone's live tiles beat them both in terms of flexibility and customization options. From the home screen, you can get a smooth animated overview of your life, photos of your contacts, emails in your inbox, recent shows on iPlayer, upcoming appointments, ebooks, websites. It's all in front of you straight away. Windows Phone 8.1 adds in the ability to add wallpapers that fuse with the live tiles, as well as adjust the colors. The lock screen notifications are useful as well. The Action Center that's arriving with Windows Phone 8.1 brings the mobile platform's notification up to speed with Android and iOS. While Microsoft may be so late to the party that the caterers have gone home, it has certainly learned from the best and the worst of the features offered on iOS and Android. You can set up custom shortcuts within the Action Center for everything from Bluetooth to the camera app, and certain alerts that can be easily previewed without opening the app in question. It doesn't have the flexibility and ability to launch actions that the Android equivalent has, but it does bring Windows Phone right up to date in the notification state. Microsoft has only just got into the digital assistant game, but the early signs point towards Cortana being more than a match for Google Now and Siri. Scheduling appointments, checking flight timings, giving directions and tracking news stories. All of these are within Cortana's capabilities right from the off. Not only that, but she gets cleverer as you spend more time together. Bing powers everything, of course, and it's accessible from everywhere. In many ways, Cortana helps to paper over the cracks in Windows Phone's multitasking capabilities. You can access your Outlook emails and Office documents on non-Microsoft platforms quite easily. In fact, there are choice of methods and apps you can use. However, these titans of productivity are built in and work nicely on Windows Phones as soon as you provide your Microsoft account credentials. If you're already heavily invested in the Microsoft ecosystem, then the company's mobile operating system is a natural next step, as apps become universal across phones, tablets, Windows computers, and the Xbox, then Windows Phones could make even more sense. Office is on the iPad now, but when the chips are down and you need instant access to your pivot tables, Windows Phone is still the best bet, although it's still not quite cracked it in the tablet market. It's easy to spot a Windows Phone app from some distance. The same chunky buttons, elegant lettering and design aesthetic cover everything from Spotify to Facebook. When compared to the weird and wonderful interfaces that pop up across iOS and Android, it is a welcome change to dive into a mobile platform that's consistent and recognizable. Even if it's not your taste, you have to accept that Windows Phone has succeeded in bringing a unified look to its apps and menus. The cloud storage platform is in direct competition with iCloud and Google Drive and has plenty to offer. It combines file backup, photo management and document editing, and of course, it's baked into Windows 8.1 too. There's even a Mac client, giving it a Dropbox level of ubiquity across computers, tablets, mobiles and the web. Its rivals all have their own key features and advantages as well, but OneDrive is a maturing platform that's all set to go as soon as you sign into your phone. This is more down to Nokia's engineering than anything Windows Phone does. But there is no doubt that many of the current Lumia handsets take dazzling pictures. The dedicated hardware button helps, as does the Nokia ProCam app, and the Windows Phone experience is proof that you don't have to settle for average snaps from your mobile. And that's not the end of it, as there are other features in Windows Phone 8.1 that we haven't had the time to mention too, such as the battery saver and Wi-Fi Sense app that helps you get more juice from your handset and connect to open networks more easily. Unless you're starting from scratch with Windows Phone or you're heavily invested in Microsoft's other products, then transferring your information from iCloud or Google can be a bind. Unfortunately, it looks like that system is here to stay, as none of the big players want to make it easy for users to jump ship. Hopefully, Office for iPad is a sign of interoperable future, but we would clearly love to see an official Gmail client, for example. 97% of smartphone users aren't on Windows Phone yet, and the process of switching needs to be made easier. Unfortunately, that means Google and Apple need to put in the effort as well as Microsoft. Talk to anyone at Microsoft and they'll be predictably bullish on how many apps are landing in the Windows Phone store every day. And to be fair, it is a decent number, 2 lakhs at the end of 2013, and that's still growing. Add to that the fact that the interoperability within Windows Phone is strong and you could make a compelling case for purchase. But despite some of the bigger names still committing to the platform, the quality still there isn't compared to iOS and Android. Use the likes of Spotify, Facebook or Instagram and you'll see a distinctly lower performance, be it through features or general design, which is something that should definitely play in the thoughts of anyone that relies on their mobile for social networking. But before you leave, don't forget to subscribe to Cinecurry for all the latest short films, celebrity gossips and movie reviews.